50 years old. Tyler is standing on a private stretch of beach, looking at a villa he still isn't fully used to owning. He doesn't say anything for a second. He just looks at it. The pool catching the last orange light. A small boat docked at his own private pier. The villa's tiled roof glowing warm against the sky. Then, quietly, almost to himself, I never thought a delivery driver could end up here. A phone screen lights up in his hand. A banking app. The number on it is cut off before you can read all of it. Net worth, $1,000, 0. How does a guy who spent 32 years delivering packages for $17 an hour end up looking at a number like that? Most people would tell you it's impossible. That $17 an hour is a starting wage, not a wealth-building wage. That guys like Tyler are supposed to retire with a pension check and a worn-out knee, not a seven-figure net worth. And honestly, if you looked at his paycheck at 18, you'd probably believe them.
But to understand how he got from that paycheck to this island, we have to go back, 32 years back, to a kid who didn't want $1 million. He wanted something much smaller and much harder to get. He wanted to never live like his parents did. 18 years old, first shift, $17 an hour, full-time, about $35,000 a year before taxes. Nothing his parents would call making it. A beat-up car with a check engine light that never turned off. He remembered his parents fighting about the electric bill more times than he could count. The specific sound of his mom sighing over a stack of envelopes at the kitchen table. He didn't have a 5-year plan. He had one rule. Whatever I do, I don't end up at that table. That first paycheck, he kept the stub. Just folded it and put it in a drawer. He didn't know why yet. He just knew he wanted to remember what it felt like to earn something for the first time, before life had a chance to complicate it. Today, he poured the foundation. His first move wasn't investing at all. It was building $6,000 in plain cash, an emergency fund, kept completely separate from anything he'd ever invest. That took him about 14 months. Only after that cushion existed did he start actually investing, putting roughly $420 a month, about 15% of his paycheck, into a basic index fund. Not because someone told him 15% was the magic number, because it was the most he could stand to lose without feeling it too much, and he figured he could adjust from there. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about money and people like Tyler. People everyone thinks are stuck in a rut, even though they're not. If you want to learn how a $17 an hour job turns into a 7-figure fortune, stay tuned, because we'll soon be doing the math, and it's not what you think. But before we get started, subscribe to the channel and like this video. Here we break down real-life paths to wealth for everyday professions. And if after watching, you want to see how a welder, electrician, construction worker, truck driver, and other professionals achieve the same results, check out the channel's playlists or click the on-screen prompt. Here's the myth-busting part that financial gurus don't like to talk about because it's boring. Most people think that creating real wealth requires a 6-figure salary, a business idea, or some kind of luck. It's not true. It requires a savings level you can actually sustain, and enough time for that money to start generating income without interruption. Tyler earned only a modest hourly wage throughout his career. He had something most people don't: 32 years of consistently saving small amounts before life managed to dissuade him from doing so. Now, Tyler wasn't alone in this. There was Dave. Dave worked the same job.
Same wage, same first paycheck basically. Different rule.
At 19, Dave financed a brand new truck. Chrome everything. Payment stretched over 7 years. A monthly bill that ate almost a third of his paycheck before he'd spent $1 on anything else. Dave was thrilled. He told Tyler he was actually living, while Tyler drove a car that made noises it shouldn't make and put another 15% into an account he wasn't allowed to touch. Here's the part nobody likes to admit about Tyler. He wasn't perfect. At 22, after 4 straight years of discipline, he cracked. Just a little. He financed a phone he didn't need, the newest one, $45 a month on a 24-month payment plan, because he told himself he'd earned it. For a few months, it felt good. Then the bill hit differently.
$45 doesn't sound like much, but it was 10% of what he'd been investing every month. Gone. Redirected to something that would be worthless in 2 years. His savings rate slowed down for the first time since he started. He looked at that stalled number in his account, and felt something he hadn't felt before. The exact feeling Dave probably felt every single month. The feeling of watching a payment quietly eat your future. He didn't spiral. He paid the phone off 6 months early, ate the loss, and went back to the plan. He wasn't perfect. He was just quick to fix it. That mistake mattered more than any of his good decisions. It's the difference between a rule and a person. A rule breaks once, and it's over. A person breaks once, learns what it costs, and keeps going anyway. 25 years old. This is where it got hard. Not because the math was confusing, but because the choice wasn't about numbers at all. His company offered him a promotion. Better title, better pay, more responsibility, in a city 2 hours away. New rent that was almost double what he paid now. Nicer apartment, nicer neighborhood, prices that made his current life look like a discount store. Dave heard about it and didn't hesitate. You'd be stupid not to take it. Is more money. And for a second, Tyler almost believed him. He sat with the offer letter for 3 days, picturing the easier version of his life. Shorter commute, actual air conditioning, no more counting quarters at the gas station. It was tempting in a way that had nothing to do with spreadsheets. This wasn't a comfort versus logic decision. This was comfort now versus freedom later. And for the first time, freedom didn't feel like the obvious answer. He ran the numbers anyway. Higher pay, but higher rent, higher gas, a new car he'd probably need for the commute. And on paper, it was close. Close enough that the numbers weren't really what decided it. He turned it down.
Not because he calculated the exact dollar difference. He turned it down because he remembered the sound of his mom sighing over those envelopes, and he was not going to trade his future for a nicer waiting room. The first walls went up, slower than he wanted, but they went up. By 25, his hourly wage had crept up to about $19.50 through raises and tenure. Nothing dramatic, just steady. His investment account had crossed $38,000. Not because any single paycheck was impressive, but because none of them had ever been interrupted for more than a few months. 30 years old. 20 years left on the clock, though he didn't know it yet. His car's transmission gave out on a delivery route on a Tuesday, with a trunk full of packages he still had to drop off. Repair bill? $4,000. His entire emergency fund, the cash cushion, kept separate from everything he invested, gone in one afternoon. For about a week, it actually looked over. 12 years of discipline, and here he was, back near zero in the one account that was supposed to protect him from exactly this. His investment portfolio itself hadn't lost a dollar. It was sitting at just over $100,000, but that fact didn't register at first. All he could see was the empty cash cushion. He opened that drawer, the one with the old paycheck stub in it, and just stared at it for a while. He didn't say anything out loud. He just sat there, wondering if this whole thing had been a waste of time. Meanwhile, Dave's truck looked untouched, spotless, sitting in his driveway like proof he'd made the smarter call all along. For a moment, even Tyler believed it. Dave hadn't paid anything extra this month. Dave hadn't lost anything today. But Dave hadn't dodged anything. He'd just delayed it. The way you can delay a storm by staying inside, right up until the roof gives out anyway. Tyler rebuilt his fund in 8 months. Not because it was easy, but because by now, saving wasn't a decision he made every day. It was just who he was. A storm tore off part of the roof. He put it back on anyway. What actually got him through those 8 months wasn't motivation. Motivation doesn't last 8 months. It was the same 15%, on autopilot, whether he felt like it or not. Whether he was proud of himself that week or exhausted and resentful of the whole plan. Some months he barely noticed the deduction. Other months he stared at his account and genuinely considered turning it off, just for a while, just until things felt easier. He never did. Not because he was made of some different material than everyone else, but because by 30, stopping felt stranger to him than continuing. 35 years old. Something shifted that year that Tyler almost missed. Because it didn't announce itself with a headline. It just showed up quietly in his account statement. He checked his portfolio, like he always did on the first of the month. And the growth from his investments alone, no new deposits, just the money already in there, compounding on itself, was bigger than everything he'd personally contributed that entire year. His money had officially started outworking him. The house finally holds itself up. Let's put real numbers on that. Because compounding means nothing until you see it. Tyler's monthly contribution had grown along with his wage,
up from $420 a month at 18 to around $650 by his early 30s, as his hourly rate climbed past $21, and he pushed his savings rate up whenever a raise landed, instead of letting his spending grow with it. All of it went into simple index funds, earning an average return of about 8% a year. Nothing exotic, nothing he had to time or predict. At 35, his account held just under $200,000. Of the growth that year alone, more than half of it came from the market, not from his paycheck. He hadn't worked any harder that year than the year before. His money had just finally built up enough mass to start pulling its own weight. That's the part almost nobody explains properly. The first $20,000 takes years of grinding, paycheck after paycheck, with almost nothing to show for it in the moment. But the growth on top of that $20,000 starts doing real work on its own, quietly, in the background, whether Tyler was having a good month or a bad one. Meanwhile, Dave was 3 trucks deep into the same financing cycle he started at 19, still making payments on vehicles he no longer even owned outright. The cracks were starting to show, quiet ones. A comment here about how tight things were, a joke that landed a little flat this time. 40 years old, 10 years left, though the finish line was starting to feel real now instead of theoretical. His investment portfolio had just crossed $360,000. Alongside it, for the past 5 years, he'd been quietly building a third account, a separate fund, just for big, planned purchases, completely walled off from his retirement investing. About $300 a month, untouched by market swings, sitting in cash. A dealership offered him the exact truck Dave had bought 21 years earlier. Same model, newer version, chrome everything. Tyler test drove it. He liked it, honestly, more than he expected to, and he actually bought it. You're probably thinking, here it comes. 22 years of discipline, gone in one bad afternoon at a dealership. He paid cash, $19,000, straight out of that separate fund. His investment portfolio never noticed. It kept compounding the next morning exactly like it had the morning before. The same truck that had symbolized the trap his entire adult life became in one purchase proof of exactly the opposite thing. Not a payment, a receipt. Nothing owed, nothing financed, nothing eating into next month before this month was even over. Now he's not building a house, he's building a block. Around this time, Dave started saying something different. Not jokes anymore. Something closer to regret, dressed up as a compliment. Man, I don't know how you did it. I really don't. If you've made it this far, you already know this channel is about exactly this. The real mechanics behind money, not the fantasy version. Hit subscribe if you want the next one of these when it drops, because we're only a few years away from finding out exactly what Tyler ended up with. 45 years old, 5 years left. His portfolio had passed $600,000. He could have walked away from work completely by now, and the math would have backed him up. He didn't. He kept driving, kept working, but it wasn't the same job anymore, even though it looked identical from the outside. Same uniform, same routes, same $17 wage that had long since climbed into something else entirely. Before, he needed the paycheck. Now the paycheck was just something extra. A choice instead of a requirement. That difference changes a person more than the money itself ever does. He noticed himself speaking up more at work, pushing back on things he used to just accept. Not because he was angrier, but because he finally could afford to. Dave, for his part, wasn't a bad person. And the story isn't really about him losing. He worked just as hard as Tyler did. Every single one of those 32 years. Delivering the same routes, dealing with the same weather, the same traffic, the same difficult customers. The only difference, the entire difference, was where the extra money went every single month. Dave's went toward feeling successful right now. Tyler's went toward being free later. Neither choice is stupid on its own. It's just that only one of them compounds. Old flip phone, then a smartphone, then 4 smartphones after that. 3 cars traded in over the decades, plus the truck he bought outright. The uniform changed twice as the company rebranded. The delivery app on his phone wasn't even the same company he started with. That one had gotten bought out years ago. 32 years doesn't feel like 32 years while you're living it. It feels like 1,000 ordinary Tuesdays stacked on top of each other. It's only when you look back that the decades show up all at once, like a photograph you didn't know was being taken. 50 years old. Which brings us back to that stretch of beach. He didn't become rich because he drove deliveries for 32 years. He became rich because every payday he bought another brick. Here's the whole staircase, laid out plainly. $38,000 at 25. $100,000 at 30. Protected the whole time behind a separate cash cushion. Just under $200,000 at 35. The the year his money finally started out-earning his paycheck. $360,000 at 40, with a truck paid in cash from a completely different account. $600,000 at 45, and now at 50. Net worth, $1,047,000. That old paycheck stub, the first one, $17 an hour, folded up in a drawer 32 years ago, is framed on the wall of the villa he's standing in front of right now, right next to the front door, where he sees it every single time he walks in. Dave's truck is long gone, traded twice more since. When Tyler ran into him a few months back at a gas station, Dave didn't joke about it anymore. He just said, quietly, almost like an apology, "You always were the boring one." Tyler laughed. He wasn't wrong. And he wasn't losing either. He'd just spent 32 years living it differently. Here's what actually changed for Tyler, and it's not the number on the screen. He drove to his mom's place last weekend, sat at that same kitchen table where he used to hear her sigh over envelopes, and for the first time in his life, he realized something simple, something that had nothing to do with a bank app. He was never going to sit at a table like that, worried about a bill he couldn't pay. That was the goal at 18. Not the million. Never that table. The million was just what happened while he wasn't watching. One boring, ordinary paycheck at a time, 15% at a time, for 32 years straight. If you're $17 an hour right now, wondering if this job is a dead end, it isn't. The job was never the ceiling. The decision was. Tyler didn't need a better job to build this. He didn't need a business idea, a lucky break, or a rich relative. He needed a foundation, some walls that went up slower than he wanted, a roof that got torn off once and put back anyway, a mistake he made and fixed instead of ignored, and 32 ordinary paydays a year for 32 years. You don't need to start at $400 a month either. Start at 50. Start at 25 if that's genuinely what you can spare right now. The number matters less than the habit of never letting it be zero. Nobody builds a house by admiring the foundation. They build it by pouring the next bag of concrete, and then the next one, long after it stops feeling exciting. Start pouring your foundation today. Your 50-year-old self is already waiting on that beach.